In this video, this is a part of a series I'm doing called Debunking Dave Ramsey. So I think the first time I ever heard the word debunk was in Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University course. So this video, the series of videos, is not to bash Dave or throw him under the bus. I do think what he's doing is a good thing, and it helps a certain group of people. But there are some what he does, what he teaches in his philosophy, it's the very kind of hard, slow, just inefficient way to get to where most people think they're going when they invest in his products. So it may get you out of debt, but there's just all money comes from debt. We'll get into that in another video. So this series of videos is just to kind of introduce you to some better, faster ways to get to where you want to be, or where you think you want to be, or where you think you're going when you invest in Dave's products. Because his stuff is just, it doesn't really apply to the way that money really works. And the way, once you learn more about how money and credit cards and stuff really works, it's kind of counterintuitive, and it's opposite of what Dave's teaching. So once you learn the truth, and I'm sharing some of that in these videos, you're going to start to think quite differently about what Dave is teaching you. So in this video, I want to talk about credit and credit card and credit scores and stuff, and that's a whole fun other little game that they never explain to you, because it's a billion-dollar industry, and they make you think it's so mysterious and complicated when actually it's incredibly simple. But they don't want you to know that, because if you knew how the game worked, then they'd have to change the rules, and they worked really hard to make it the way it is, and they'd rather keep it the same. And so I'm going to give you some tips about that. And I love Dave. How this series started is, for whatever reason, recently Dave's posts started popping into my newsfeed, and I thought it's funny that a lot of very successful entrepreneurs that I'm connected to are chiming in on a lot of his posts. I actually did for this one because I had something to say, but I think this is, anyway, it's interesting. So he said, your teenager does not need a credit card. And while that may, there's a angle where that might be true or whatever, I know what he's trying to communicate. At the same time, it's a very it's one of the best things you could do for a teenager, maybe not give them a credit card to go spend, but if you want to teach them about money and responsibility, that's a good thing. But adding them as an authorized user to your credit card, assuming you have good credit, is one of the best things that you can do for your teenager, because basically that trust and rapport and that age and that good credit that you have, it gets transferred to them. And so when they start out in life, when they go get other credit cards, they're not starting at zero. They're actually marinated or whatever, marinating over the next couple years, or whenever you add them, so that when they get out in life, when they graduate from high school or whatever, get out into the real world, they're not starting from zero. They're starting from probably like a mid 700, maybe even the 800 credit score, which is amazing. It's one of the best things, one of the best gifts that you can give your children if you want them to be successful, and not have to start from scratch, because it's going to instantly allow them to get cheaper money for loans, and just increase the chances that they're going to get approved for again, like auto loans, home loans, apartments, getting approved for apartments, and just like that. I feel like credit scores is almost like a social security number or whatever. It's very important, and you need to learn how money works. And they don't teach this stuff in school. They don't even know if they really teach what I know and what I've learned in books or in YouTube videos. They have all these little blog posts that tease you about all this bullshit, bullet points that don't really matter. All I learned, everything I learned about credit and credit cards, I learned from trial and error and experience. I'm not blowing smoke when I say I literally learned the whole game from doing it. No one taught this to me. I never read a book. Didn't learn this from Dave for sure. And the reality is that the credit game is so freaking simple, but they don't want you to know that, because if you knew how easy it was to manipulate it, then again they'd have to create a new game. So I wanted to show you that I know what I'm talking about. I wish this was 800 just like a week or two ago. This was both were 800, but I rarely ever use my personal credit cards, but I just bought something on them, and then the credit score updated. So it's not a big deal. Some people worry about these fluctuations and stuff. 45 points sounds like a lot, but like as soon as I pay it off, it'll go right back up. So it's just the fact that there's an outstanding balance on this card, and it just so happened to update. So like for the time being it's this, but I'll just open this up and show you like 800, 800, 800, 800. So this is like today, so literally a couple at the time of making this video, a couple like a week ago, it was that. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. So I'll just give you some like little pointers here. So these are the things that affect your credit score. And again, this isn't some kind of like in-depth masterclass. If you want to learn this stuff, I don't know, maybe if you pay me like $10,000, I'll give you some real tips or whatever. But you can see these are the things that have high impact, and the medium impact and low impact. So a lot of people think that hard inquiries or having lots of credit cards is going to like negatively affect your credit score, which if you can see here, they have the lowest impact. So having lots of credit cards is not really a big deal. Credit age is a medium impact. So this is where going back to adding your kids as an authorized user can really help them. One of my oldest credit cards is one that my parents set up for me when I was, I think, the first year of college. It's the only credit card I had for several years, and that helps me significantly with my credit score, because it's the average, you can see, is like almost 6 years, but that credit card is like, I don't know, 13 or 14, 15 years old now, so it helps increase the average age of my credit, and the more older credit that I have on my account, the better that impacts it. But you can see it's just medium impact, and the things that have the highest impact are derogatory marks, credit card usage, which you can see it just went up a little bit, and man, this is a whole little counterintuitive game right here, the credit use, and then the payment history. So I've always had really good credit, even when I had a lot of outstanding debt, and the reason for that, and again, I didn't read this in a book. This is just telling you what I learned from experience. It doesn't mean I paid everything off on time. I just made a payment on time, and a lot of times I'll pay that payment early, and I'll pay a little bit more than the minimum. And if you do that, if you stay ahead of your payments and you pay at least ideally you want to pay a little bit more than a minimum payment. It can just be $10 more, $100 more. You will have good credit. I've always had high 600s or medium 700s by doing this, and this is when I was broke, and thousands and thousands of dollars in credit card debt, but just staying ahead of those payments. It's actually, I never had a 500 credit score or whatever. You would think, well, that's not possible, because like I was like 20, 30, $60,000 in debt, but it is possible. And another little tip here that I will give you with this credit card usage, you can see this is high impact. Look, this is counterintuitive, but it works. Whenever you pay down your cards, you can request credit limit increases. And what that does is it actually, while that's going to give you like a hard query like ding here, again, it doesn't really matter because these are low impact and those eventually drop off. What that does is it's going to boost your overall credit limit. And the next time, let's just say one of your cards had a $5,000 limit. Well, if you use $5,000, you're at 100% utilization, which looks bad. But if you pay it off or pay off some of it and then wait for your credit score to update and then request a credit limit increased on that card, or maybe a couple of your other cards, and now your credit limit for that card, let's just say it's $10,000. Well, if you use that $5,000 again on that same card, now you're not at 100% utilization, you're only at 50% utilization, and you're because you're using $5,000 of that $10,000. And so even though you're not any better at managing your money because you boosted your credit limit, you're actually your credit score doesn't go down as much as it did previously, if that makes sense. That's a huge tip. But you can get as many cards as you want. That was one thing. I moved out to Austin 10 plus years ago with one credit card with I think a limit of $1,500 because I didn't know you could get more cards, and I didn't know you could request credit limit increases. So those are two things that you can do and play it kind of like a little shell game of just like pay off a little, request a credit limit increase. They're going to either say yes or no, and if they say yes, it's good. And if they say no, just try again in another month or whatever, or apply for a different card from a different brand. So like apply for Discover. If Discover doesn't approve you, screw it. Apply for Capital One, apply for Bank of America, and just like, so you can increase your credit limit by applying for multiple cards or requesting credit limit increases on your existing cards. So again, counterintuitive to what you're going to find probably online and anything that Dave teaches about credit, because debit is just retarded. I don't think any debit card gives you any points and stuff. So you're going to get points from spending. You're going to be points your credit cards from being responsible. So it's just kind of a nice little bonus for being good with money management. And they're just going to give you leverage. Like, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I never made more than $20,000 a year at a job, and that was before taxes were taken out. So I found my way to credit cards and stuff just because that was my only form of leverage, and like because I wasn't making much money, I just figured out this whole game by trial and error. So credit scores, credit cards, loans, and when you learn how to master that, you learn the game and learn the landscape and how to play. There really aren't any limits when it comes to money when you know that, and it's actually much faster and simpler to get money than it is to earn it, at least in my experience and stuff. And so hopefully that gives you some aha moments. And if you take that and you combine that with all the other videos that I'm going to be making in this series, and combine that all together, then it's going to serve you really well. So, previous video I mentioned start a business. You combine that with getting some credit cards, and I would recommend getting business credit cards, but you can also get personal. These are mostly personal. I've got over 6 figures in personal cards. I've got over 6 figures in business cards, but I didn't know all about the business stuff first, so that's why I kept boosting my personal cards, because I was just had a lot of fears around starting business, didn't know how to do that, but it works the same way. So I built my whole boosted all my credit on the personal side first, because I didn't know anything about setting up a business. But first week in business, I got 6 figures in credit on business credit cards. So it works the same way, and it's actually faster and easier to get business credit card than personal. So highly recommend setting up a business. Then you can get business credit cards, and the cool thing about that again is that most business credit cards don't report to your personal credit, so this stuff isn't going to be affected. So like if you get this under control, and I think you can even transfer some of your personal credit card balances to your business credit cards, and if you can't do that, then again, there's a lot of value here. You can get loans, personal loans, peer-to-peer loans from places like Lending Club, SoFi.com, SoFi.com, and Prosper. Get that cash, pay off your personal credit card to lower your debt, and then that's going to boost your credit, and the loan that you're paying monthly payments on is actually going to ding your credit much less than that credit card debt, and also it's at least that's a flat fee with a loan, as opposed to the credit cards, which that just keeps compounding month after month, and it's kind of snowballing, just like there's it's like a debt snowball basically. So those are a couple tips, but if you get approved for once you set up your business, and then you get some credit cards, that you want to figure out something to do to multiply that money that you're gonna now have, either through loans again or credit cards. And so there's lots of different ways out there to make money, offline, online. If you already have something great and you just didn't know where to get the money, awesome. Hopefully these tips will help you. And if you don't know where to put the money to multiply it, then I highly recommend you checking out our course and program called Elite. It's SEOaffiliatedomination.com/apply. You can learn more about it by watching this short video. There's tons of testimonials. These are just a couple on this page, but we have tons more than this. Some screenshots and whatnot. We've got a couple different plans, and you click here to apply and learn more about that, and just schedule a call with us, and we'll hop on a call and decide whether or not this is going to be a good fit for you. But it is one of the handful of methods out there to make money online that where we teach you how to create passive income. So a lot of the different ways to make money online, they require your time over and over again. Like, obviously this requires a little bit of time and effort on the front end, but once you get the ball rolling, you can kind of take your foot off the accelerator, and that's not the case with 99% of other businesses out there. Sure, you can make a lot of money doing, again, a lot of different things, but most all of them require you to show up every single day or manage something every single day. And you know, with what I do and teach, I've been making over 6 figures a year passively for the last 4 to 5 years, and that literally, if I did nothing every single day for the last 4 years, I would have made over 6 figures a year on 100% autopilot, zero management of anything. So it's kind of like the fast track to retirement. So which is kind of, you know, what Dave is kind of promising. I'm just like, you're going to have a great life when you're old, but hey, you know, what if you could have that great life while you're still young, which is what we kind of teach you how to do, and show you how to get there a lot faster. So if you want to learn how to do that, you can go to SEOaffiliatedomination.com/apply. Hopefully you got some value out of this video.